Hey there, and welcome to another Factorio tutorial. I'm Xterminator, and thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be covering the new artillery wagon and turret that has been introduced in Factorio 0.16 update. So there's a bit to cover with these. I'm going to go over their characteristics, kind of what they can do and can't do, some of their limitations, and some strategies with them, and so on and so forth. So we're going to start over here with the wagon. Now, there is some new technology to unlock this. If we just go ahead and search here, it's the artillery technology, and this is 2,000 of each pack, pretty expensive. And this will unlock everything you need: the wagon, the turret, the ammo, and the targeter. Manual targeter, which I'll get into in a second. There is also shooting speed and shell range upgrades for infinite research, which is really pretty impressive. Now, do note that when I show these the range of it here in a minute or two, do note that I have unlocked all technology. So I've unlocked up until I've unlocked one range technology, I believe, because there's this, and then I think one range technology, and then it goes to infinite, because we're at number 2 here. But it shouldn't increase all that much. It increases 30% from the base each time. So this guy here, what can he do and what can he do? So first off, one very important thing to note is that this will never shoot while the train is moving, okay? It doesn't matter if you manually target. If you do manually target, it will allow you to select a target, but it won't actually shoot until the train has come to a stop at a station or at a signal, but there's a few conditions with that as well, which I'll get into in a second. So this guy has 2 modes. He can either be on automatic mode, where he will shoot just at any base in the range if the train is stopped, obviously, or you can use a manual targeter and target things specifically. And this works for the turrets as well. They have obviously just the automatic mode, or if you manually take over, you can target stuff. However, there are 2 very different ranges. The automatic mode has a range of, I believe, 7 chunks without any research upgrades, and the manual range, I believe, is 17.5 chunks. So more than double the range if you do this manually. Now, if we go into map mode here, if you turn on this little guy here, this turret coverage, you can see the coverage of this. So this is, it's not quite a circle because we have the turrets over here and then the wagon over here, but this is its coverage in automatic mode. Now, if I go and grab a targeter, you can see this greatly expand. This is huge. Look at the range of this. Now, if I were to use this manually, I can now shoot to anything within this range. And this obviously applies to both the turrets and the wagon. So definitely a massive range increase there. Okay, now before I actually show you a demonstration, just a couple more notes. First off, both these, this applies to the turrets and the wagon, will only target spawners and worms. It will never target the biters, the bugs themselves. However, the bugs will aggro on it when you shoot, or when it actually hits and does damage to their base. So even if you shoot, way far away, if it's an automatic and it shoots at this base, the biters are still going to aggro towards this. So you want to make sure you have defenses set up like I have here, because they will come running towards, wherever the thing is that shot them. So you do want to keep that in mind for sure. So we're going to hop in here, and there's a few little notes. You'll notice here when I start driving, I'm going to put some shells in, and I'm going to start moving, and you'll notice he's not doing anything. I'm moving slowly. Even though this is in range, it's not actually doing anything here. However, now here's something interesting. If we tell it to go to this station, okay, it will not shoot, and this is one of the little discrepancies I was talking about, is that even though it's stopped, it will not shoot in automatic when the train's in automatic mode unless it's at a station, okay? If it stops at a signal and the train's in automatic mode, it won't shoot, okay? It needs to be in manual mode, the train, and stopped unless it's at a station. It will work if it pulls up to a station and is in automatic drive mode. It will shoot then. However, any other way, like at a signal, if it's in automatic mode, it won't. So like here, if I turn this to manual and you give it a second because it has to search for a base, you'll notice he will turn around, and there he goes. He's going to target these bases over here. And something else we'll notice is it reveals chunks. It reveals area as it shoots. You can see here. See how this is lighting up, and it just shot twice. So there's 1 and there's 2. Boom. Okay, so it reveals out the area as it shoots, and I've already revealed out the map just to show you, but even if it were black unexplored, it would reveal those. Now the biters are obviously going to come running. But you can see that once I turned into manual, he worked. Now, if I turn this to automatic, and I put in another shell, there should still be this base down here in range, right? So he's still not shooting, as I mentioned before. There come the biters. If I remove this and send him to the station, once he gets there and you give it a second again, you'll notice he will shoot at that base down below, even though the train is in automatic mode. Okay, so it's a very good discrepancy to recognize and know, because it can be confusing and maybe change your setup. So here we go, he shoots, and there we go. So with this in mind, a suggestion I would have, or what I would personally do, is maybe attach one of these to like every one of your outposts, like ore trains, or at least one train to each outpost if you have multiple trains going. And then when they get there and stop and they're loading their ore and stuff, this guy will clear out any bases in range. You know, if they're encroaching, if you have biter expansion on, that can be really good, because then you can just send it to, it'll just be sent to every outpost and just shoot stuff in its range every time it gets there. Now with this does count, so this thing shooting does count against activity or inactivity in a train. So there's a condition you can add, right, for inactivity. When this shoots, it counts as activity, so it will trigger the train to leave. Okay, so that's an important note, that if you are using that condition, you do want to keep that in mind when attaching an artillery wagon to it. Now with the turrets, obviously there's no like movement conditions or anything, because they don't move. They still have the same range and stuff in manual mode, and if you target automatically or manually. So if I throw some stuff in here, there shouldn't be any more bases in range just in automatic mode here. When you pull up your targeter, it will give you a little number next to it, and if we pull up this guy, we'll notice there's 2 shells in here. If I pull this up, you can see that there's a number 1 there. This is actually an indication of how many turrets you have that have ammo and are able to shoot at the targets, right? So I have 3 turrets, and these guys are within range to shoot at anything in here, but they don't have ammo, so it's not counting them. However, if I go ahead and add shells to these, it should give me 3, and there you go. So we now have 3 turrets that are ready, full of ammo, and can shoot, okay? Now, also, I believe that when you do this, it will not actually shoot from a specific turret, right? Since you can't get in these, it'll just shoot any that are in range, right? So all 3 of these are in range. I can't designate which one I want to shoot. So say you shoot it, like say you have a turret where I am here, and then you had another one like on the other side of your base here, but they were both in range of what you were shooting. It may shoot the one way down here that you're not next to or whatever. Just a quick note that with these guys, it won't distinguish. And the same with the wagon unless you're in it, right? So you can get in the wagon, and then it will only shoot with that one and such. But unless you have turrets as well, you can see it's still displaying 3. However, if you're manually targeting stuff with wagons and you're not in the wagon, then it will just shoot with any of them. And it may shoot with any of them even if you are in it. I'm not actually entirely sure on that, but we're going to test this out. So if I manually target and you just left click, you can see the little markers here, and you just heard 2 of them shoot, and there they go. They're exploring the chunks. So this is quite the distance. This is such a long way, but we can just follow this, and there we go. So even at that massive range, these guys are going to come aggro on us. So again, you do want to be very careful of that. Now I am going to pull these up because I do want to test. I hadn't actually thought of it until I mentioned it. I do want to test this and see, like, if we have another guy here, and I think we need, I don't actually know if you need a like locomotives on it, but if we pull this up, okay, so we do have 2 right now. If I get in this one, I'm wondering if it is going to only shoot from this one. They both have ammo. Okay, so it is actually shooting this. So in regards to what I said a minute ago, even if you're in a wagon, it may shoot from another one if it's in range. So just another quick note there. And I believe that covers it, pretty much everything. I'm just reading through my notes here one more time to make sure that I've covered everything. And I believe I have. If there is anything else major that I missed, please let me know down in the comments. But I do think I got about everything. Just to quickly show, you can do this yourself. But the damage for these is 500 explosive and 500 damage, or 500 explosive and 500 physical. Sorry. And area of effect is 4. So the range, like the splash damage, isn't actually that big. You could see in the shots I showed, it really only is like 1 or 2 bases worth of splash damage. But it will instantly kill anything. And then, so that's that. And then, you know, they're fairly cheap-ish to make. And then the turrets just require some steel concrete, gears, and advanced circuits, as well as the guy here with the addition of some pipes and engines, right? And this guy is not powered, even though he has an engine, right? You obviously need locomotives for that. But you can have him just stationary on the track if you want. So I do believe that covers it. Let me know again if I miss anything. If you have any further questions or any other thoughts, leave them down below. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found this helpful. If you did, feel free to leave a like. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and to take care.